one of the main reasons actually that, other than you just being a likable guy and someone that I enjoy talking with,
Thanks,
that
buddy.
we brought you on here was the Colts
Yeah,
not having any radio coverage whatsoever. I
yeah,
figured if anybody could help enlighten our followers and myself, because honestly, we discussed it a little bit, I think, the last time you guys had me out,
yeah.
but we didn't get too in depth. I was optimistic that by now we'd have at least like a stream on the through the website or something. But I'm pretty sure the Colts are the only team in the OHL that doesn't have
Any
any radio
coverage?
coverage whatsoever.
Yeah. So the way, I mean, here, like, I don't know the ins and outs, particularly of sports broadcasting or sports coverage rights or broadcasting rights for hockey teams or anything like that. I'm not specialized in that, but the way I look at it though is that the reason we've lost, or a lot of teams have lost, their traditional radio coverage of their OHL teams and even in some case NHL teams is because the loss of AM radio. And you always, at least when I was younger, and I always, whenever I think of a ball game or a hockey game or any sporting event on the radio, it always, for some reason in my mind, sounds like AM radio.
Hmm.
And FM has always been sort of dedicated to the music side of things. And when you think of, a brand like Nike, you
Hmm.
expect certain things from that brand. And so for a radio station that's playing pop music or rock music or whatever, the audience is sort of subscribed to that music. And so to stop a music station and all of a sudden switch to now we're a sports station
Hmm.
for a couple of hours and then we just go away and then it's a music station again
No.
is kind of counter message. It's kind of counter brand.
Hmm.
So I don't think a lot of FM music stations are very excited or very uh, willing to make that move.
Because that would be a big commitment on that end, especially when you're trying to hype your radio or music side of things, and then to all of a sudden say, okay,
Yeah,
just stop that.
kills the vibe,
Yeah,
right? Like
totally.
you're in the middle of Katy Perry, and then all of a sudden we're into the first period or a pregame show. Like
No,
it's
absolutely.
like it's a little weird, right? So so that's one thing to consider, and then also, there are some stations that still do that,
Hmm.
but I think a lot of the stations that do that, it's because the audience that comes with it is so large and already comes with built-in advertisers that it's financially worth it for
Okay,
them.
yeah.
You know what I mean? So if they already have an advertising or the hockey club is willing to pay
Hmm.
X dollars, if they've got a huge bank account that they're willing to spend on having hockey rights or some
Hmm.
kind. I don't know how hockey rights work or a broadcast
Yeah,
for them work, but I'm assuming there's some kind of money that can change hands somewhere along the
absolutely.
line.
Absolutely.
And the stations that are doing it, interrupting their music flow to put hockey on,
Hmm.
whether it's NHL or OHL, they're doing it only for financial reasons.
Yeah, absolutely.
And at the end of the day, that's what it comes down to. I'm afraid. So that's the kind of the breakdown of the
Hmm.
um, why it happens like that. And it's unfortunate because I think we're media wise getting a little more regional or a little more globalized, if you will.
Hmm.
And when I say regional, I mean like provincial,
Hmm.
regional, where it's not as local in terms of the coverage of news or stuff that we get. And so I think that it's unfortunate that a local hockey club that has a really good history,
Hmm.
like in Barrie or any city, that they don't get that sort of opportunity to have a broadcast.
Hmm. And again, like you said, at the end of the day, it's all about money. And I mean, I could sit here all day and say, like if understandably so, if they cannot find like an FM channel that's willing, which to me, like, I mean, I get from that perspective, but with the amount of like you go to BMC, which will eventually be renamed, um, you go into the arena and the amount of different, I mean, we'll only mention big here, but like
Yeah,
you
yeah.
see all over the place.
Radio.
You see radio ads for everything. You look at the Zamboni and there's a
Yeah,
radio ad. You look at the new scoreboard, there's
yeah,
radio ads. So it's just wild to me that, the money is there in that sense, and they're willing to put that in. But I guess from the other way around, it's just that the team isn't either putting out something that is appealing enough,
Yeah.
or just again going against. And I totally get the not going against, like especially at that time frame. You got people that are working maybe in the city who are driving home that just want to have music on in the background, and not everyone's going to want to, for example, turn big on, for that drive and listen to a Colts broadcast.
Yeah, there's that, and from the people driving home from work for sure. That's the concern of a radio programmer. And then from the end of those stations are buying ads all over the arena. Yeah, that's true. It's crazy. It's plastered, but the stations are spending money with the Colts, and so they're supporting the Colts in buying advertisement in the arena, yes, to get their logo in front of people. But it's almost the other way around now. We're buying, or as a radio station, advertising. Colts aren't buying advertising from us. We're buying it from them. And so it's because we want the people who are in the stands to tune into our radio station. If they're in the stands, they're not listening to a hockey game. You see, so it's kind of like that we want them to drive out and tune on, Led Zeppelin on Big FM on their way out of the parking lot. That's the experience we want to buy.
Here, listen to our station who will be covering a game that, we're trying to get you to go to anyways, when in reality we want you to be listening to us. So.
But on the other hand, I do lament local OHL broadcasts. One of my first gigs in radio broadcasting was producing an OHL broadcast back in the studio. I had to be the guy, it creates jobs in the media business because somebody needs to work these games.
Absolutely.
And then B, it's just, I think, good for the community to have access to that, and it's good for the team and it's good for everybody. And
promotion's a huge side, which obviously Barrie could definitely benefit from any kind of promotion like that whatsoever.
And I don't know what it's like to be an OHL player, but maybe it adds a little star element. You feel more like a star if you're on the radio. If you're the games are broadcast somewhere.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And again, it's all about promoting the team, and and one of my other questions would have been, but I mean, obviously the money side of things kind of covers that. Is it's easy to sit here and say, that the team could just, let's say, through the app, for example, the Barrie Colts app, which I've not been able to log into, if somebody is in that end of through the Colts, here's this, I've not been able to sign in for a long time, so I think there might be something on your guys' end. But if the app was working, I always wondered why they couldn't just have a game broadcast
their own stream.
Because a lot there are teams that aren't on radio, for example, in cities that don't have AM networks that do that.
That's for sure my idea for a compromise is self-started, and that's the thing about the internet these days is anybody can. You have a podcast, Ryan. I have a podcast. Anybody can have a podcast or a live video, Facebook Live, or anything. And all it takes is just a little bit of preparedness and money, which the Colts definitely have, to invest in something like that. It would not take a lot for them to start that up. It probably wouldn't even take a lot for them to start up. This is a weird analogy, but as Ryan knows, I play the bagpipes, and I do this bagpipe thing where I drive around to different Highland games throughout the summer. But there are some Highland games where you go, and they, for the day, have a license to broadcast an FM radio signal, so that you can be tune in to the games for the results or the whatever that's going on the site of the games, or the bagpipe music or whatever you want to hear on the radio around the town that the Highland Games is happening in. So there is a way to get, I don't know, again, I'm not fully versed in licensing and so forth, but I think there is a way to get a temporary event-based FM license. So even if the Colts, and again, hey, if someone from the Colts organization is listening, by all means reach out to me. I'd love to help you with this project, free of charge. I just, whatever, it doesn't matter. I mean, can you edit out that free of charge thing?
Well, no, I'm sure we can make it we'll put one of those censored sounds over. We'll just pretend you curse.
Yeah. But anyways, you could set up just on game night, have an FM broadcast for the people who can't come to the game to listen to it at home, and then as soon as the game's over, the broadcast is gone, and people just know that Colts radio on game night is 88.7 or whatever the frequency is, and then have it online as well through the app, cover all the things, and all of a sudden you've got your own following, you've got your own stream. people can come straight to the tap. You don't need a middleman.
Mhm.
You know,
And then once again, even through something like that, it's another situation where the team can generate more money because like we
sell
said,
their
it's
own
all about
ads.
money. Sell your own
Just like
ads.
radio, sell your own ads.
Exactly, and I mean, they obviously don't have issues getting people other than trying to sell the naming rights for Barrie Molson Center. They don't seem to get issues as far as because, like I said, like everywhere, that new board, which is glorious,
Yeah.
is still, it's still 40% ads, So, and
Yep.
even during the game, they you could have a stream of the feed of the game on, but no, they
Yeah.
have the ads, and that's fine. That's just how business works, and that's what they're trying to make money. So I mean, it just seems like another area that even if they were to do it themselves through their own people, or even if they wanted to reach out to the blog, I'm sure that we could try to find a way to get an online feed of a game. So
Yeah.
just contact us if that's something anybody in the team is considering. But no, that's not because I do not have any money to give them.